Lesedi is a civil engineer specializing in transport planning with experience in research and engineering consulting. Her interests include transport justice, behavioral modeling, and public transport integration. Welcome, Lesedi.
Thank you very much for having me.
Lesedi, what do you believe is your role as a woman leading in transport?
Well, I believe my role is to create awareness, especially awareness for the transport experiences of people that are marginalized. And over and above that, I think it's also my role to work with marginalized groups to create transport solutions.
How did you get to where you are today?
Well, I think it's two things, but the most important one is the experience that I told you about. I relate to people who are struggling with transport because I also use public transport. I used it as a child, trying to access better education, and also as a young adult when I was trying to access work opportunities as well as to access healthcare. So I understand the struggles that people are actually experiencing. And I think what's also quite pertinent is the fact that the issues are actually, they still prevail. So in some cases, those transport has actually become more difficult for people to use. It's become less accessible. The quality has actually gone down. So it's quite important that we have people who are advocating for marginalized groups. The second reason why I'm here today is because of the people who are around me. So there's been people who've been consistent, like my family, my husband, my mother, my grandmother, who have always pushed me and just seen the best in me. And there's also been colleagues along the way, as well as mentors and friends who've challenged me and helped me to open my mind. And that kind of influence has really helped me to be who I am today.
And what message would you like to share with young women who want to get involved in the transport sector?
Well, I think it's very important to just be authentic, to be yourself. I know that the transport sector is really male dominated. And so it's very, very easy for a woman to feel lost and to sort of blend in. It's actually quite easy, actually, to blend in. But I think it's very important to be yourself. So if you are a female and you are super feminine and you are emotional and very nurturing, then I think that's who you should be. Because the only way for you to actually be the best you can be is if you're yourself.
But who or what is your inspiration?
Yeah, that's a interesting question. I think I'm inspired by people mostly. I'm inspired by people who have the confidence to be honest with themselves, people who are vulnerable, people who are willing to openly make mistakes, and then who are easy to also correct their mistakes. So people who are continuously learning, people who are willing to listen to other people, especially to marginalized groups, people who are open and who understand that, for us to actually move forward, we actually have to do things together as a collective.
And as a woman, we tend to wear many hats. How do you manage to balance your work and personal life?
I don't think I balance anything. I think I've accepted that I'm not superhuman. So I simply focus on, what is important to me. Everything else becomes secondary. So I simply do what I can with what I have, and I accept my situation. That for me is balance.
Thank you so much, Lesedi Mukoma. That is Lesedi Mukoma, civil engineer specializing in transport planning. Thank you so much for taking the time to have this interview with us.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.